Is that really the truth? Little Boosie said that, little Woody wouldn't survive a week in, in Louisiana. Is that the truth? Might be.
It's in Atlanta. There's a lot of, if he was in Baton Rouge somewhere like.
Who, Woody?
Yeah.
So you don't think Woody would be able to walk around Baton Rouge?
Fuck no.
He's still in Atlanta though. He still lives out there.
He wouldn't. How long? He would have been. He wouldn't have lasted 3 weeks in Baton Rouge. He wouldn't have lasted probably a week in Baton Rouge.
So you feel
3 days.
okay? So
is that really the truth? Is where little Boosie from really that dangerous? I don't know. Let's check it out. Let's check it out and see. Here we go. Welcome back to the channel. Don't forget to hit the like, subscribe button. Tell a friend. Here we have another crazy story. Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Louisiana. As you can see, it's deep down south. This is where little Boosie was talking about. But this is how it is right here in Baton Rouge, believe it or not.
Baton Rouge is one of America's poorest cities. With a median household income of just $42,000, it's safe to say that folks in Baton Rouge aren't quite striking it rich. And despite it being a capital city with all kinds of government jobs, 26% of residents are living in poverty. So I can honestly say that there aren't any vegan cafes that sell $10 avocado toast anywhere near Baton Rouge. But not only is poverty an issue, but crime is as well. Baton Rouge is one of the top most dangerous cities in the country. But
as you can see, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, it's a different type of place. They said it hasn't been the same since Hurricane Katrina, believe it or not. This where little Boosie's from. This way, NBA YoungBoy's from. At least Louisiana. At least. It's crazy. These individuals in Baton Rouge, a lot of them, as you can see, they're living, low income area.
The way the streets operate is much different than many other places, especially California. So let me break it down. In Baton Rouge, neighborhoods don't really matter. For example, in LA, if you're born in the Hoovers area, you can't associate or go to the 60s. It's structured based on territory and colors. But in Baton Rouge, it's completely different. Neighborhoods pretty much mean nothing in the grand scheme of things. For example, someone saying I'm from South Baton Rouge or 50th Street has no weight to it. That alone won't get you pressed or cause any issues. Instead, enemies are based on personal grievances or small cliques that you may have had.
So little Boosie saying if little Woody, was to do whatever he did in Baton Rouge, he wouldn't have the luxury of surviving for, more than a few days. Is that the truth? I don't know. I don't think so. I think Baton Rouge is like any other place. Unless I'm wrong.
Rivals can be made literally anywhere. At the gas station, the grocery store, the DMV. That's just the environment. Everyone is on edge and ready to go at any moment. And if you don't believe me, just ask anyone from there. They will all tell you the same thing. It's absolute chaos. So in this video, you're going to hear possibly the craziest story that's ever been on Swamp Stories. But before we get into it, let me run the intro.
Don't forget. We're just trying to see how Baton Rouge really is. I do know that for certain. See murders from there too, at least from Louisiana. I do know that most individuals from Baton Rouge, going to jail is like a second home to them. Believe it or not, it really is.
During the 1990s, Baton Rouge was always overshadowed by New Orleans. Between the Hot Boys, Juvenile, Master P, Soulja Slim, Lil Wayne, Birdman, Turk, BG, and Manny Fresh, you can say that New Orleans definitely had the spotlight. But as No Limit began cooling down and Birdman and Lil Wayne moved away to the mainstream world, New Orleans lost its spotlight. And that's when Baton Rouge began to rise. A young man named Torrance Hatch, also known as
Little Boosie has basically been the face of Baton Rouge ever since, Wipe Me Down, the early 2000s. And Little Boosie, Baton Rouge is so dangerous right now. Little Boosie said he doesn't even feel comfortable going there anymore. Think about that. It's that bad, they're saying. I don't know.
He had the local scene on fire, but although he was a local success down south, he wasn't exactly doing major numbers. That was until 2005 when Boosie signed with Warner Brothers, and this is when things would start looking up for him. But despite the mainstream success, Boosie's life in Baton Rouge was all but on an upward trajectory. This is one of the most complicated and illogical stories I have ever told. So please rewind.
Little Boosie said he had to leave out of Baton Rouge because everywhere he went, the police kept pulling him over. He said the police started envying him because he was making so much more money than them. That's what he said.
And pause if you have to, so let's dive in. Lil Boosie is from South Baton Rouge, but more specifically the Roosevelt Street Projects. And during his childhood, his neighborhood was run by a group called BBG, also known as Bottom Boy Gorillas. I know the name sounds very unlike Boosie, if you know what I mean, but it actually makes sense. They operate out of what's known as the bottom of South Baton Rouge. This is pretty much considered Washington Street down to Astor Street, and BBG put fours down to mark where they're from. And on the other side of Washington Street, you have another group called TBG. This means Top Boy Gorillas. And they put fours up to show that they're from the top of South Baton Rouge. Both sides are known for getting money and playing rough. And although there was an off and on rivalry between members of both groups, I wouldn't necessarily call it a beef at all. It's way more complicated than TBG versus BBG. And most of the losses came from internal issues on both sides. So let's get into the events. Boosie always rolled with his two closest friends, Ivy Smith, also known as Lil Ivy, and Daryl Milton, also known as Bleak. Both Ivy and Bleak were the top two TBG members, known for calling shots and leading the most hated group.
Don't forget. Little Boosie, even though he moved out of Baton Rouge, everywhere he goes, Baton Rouge never left him. He's still living like most of those individuals down in Baton Rouge. Still going to court. Still going to jail. Is there something special about Baton Rouge? I don't know.
All of Baton Rouge. And Boosie was no less than them, except that he had become the head of BBG. And that's to say that South Baton Rouge was all rocking together. BBG and TBG was all one family. But once Boosie began blowing up, his friend Lil Ivy wanted to start rapping as well. So he would start his own label called TBG Records. And this is where things began to get blurry. Some people in Baton Rouge say that Boosie didn't want to see Ivy get on his level, so he prevented him from connecting with major labels. And some would say that this caused tension between TBG and BBG. But Boosie claims that that's not true and no friction. Regardless, things would get serious on April 2nd, 2005. It's a Friday night in Baton Rouge, and Boosie is set to do a walkthrough at Club Shenanigans. But the main reason he's there is to celebrate Ivy Smith's 25th birthday. So to those who say they had issues, please explain that. But anyways, while at the club, an argument breaks out between a local rapper named Nusi and Lil Boosie's crew. That's when Boosie, who at this point is already signed to Warner Brothers, decides to leave the club. So Boosie leaves with most of his entourage except for Ivy Smith, who stays in the club till the very end. Ivy gets in his car with two friends and heads to his home all the way in Sherwood Forest. And as he's driving down Interstate 12, a car pulls up beside him and bang!
That's crazy. That's crazy. Bang. One thing about Little Boosie, in every interview he does, he would tell you, I'm from the streets.
Instantly, all the attention was on one man only, Nussie. It had to be Nussie who did it, and everyone was convinced.
Not
But Nussie
Nussie.
would instantly dispel the rumors, saying that he wasn't involved in any ways. He was even able to prove to police that he was at a completely different location at the time it happened.
Basically, I didn't do it, but ain't nobody believed me. But later on down the line, a couple months later, they found out I didn't do it. Ain't nobody apologized to me for it, so I'm mad now. So I'm like, let's get it on, you know?
So after this, a new rumor began roaming around Baton Rouge. People would say that Ivy was not into it with rivals. Rather, he had issues with his own friend over some money. That would be a man by the name of Tremaine Franklin, also known as Lil Pig. Lil Pig was a fixture within the BBG-TBG circle, and he was often seen with Lil Boosie in music videos. Now, let me state that this here is 100% hearsay and was never proven in court, so take it as a rumor, not...
This is all legend. This is all legend. But one thing we do know for certain, like what Little Boosie said, down in Louisiana, things are a lot different. You know, rules are different. Everything is different.
Fact. But regardless, this here may convince you that Lil Pig was the one who did it. April 23rd, 2008. Lil Pig and his mother are sitting on the porch of their South Baton Rouge home. That's when a man pulls up and bam! Again, at first, all eyes were pointed at Nussie, but those within the circle knew exactly what this was all about. After a little while, a new name was being talked about all around Baton Rouge. That would be a young man named Nicholas Sterling, also known as Lil Finn. Lil Finn was very close to Lil Boosie and was often seen by his side, and everyone started saying that he was the one who handled Lil Pig for what he did to Lil Ivy. Regardless if it's true or not, everything would come around for him just a few months later. August 23rd, 2008. Lil Finn gets into a random argument with a man on McKinley Street. The man, whose name is Donald Eli, would notice Lil Finn reaching down, and that's when he would react. Bang! Lil Finn, or Lil Nick, which is the other nickname, is still a legendary name in Baton Rouge.
Like I tell you, Louisiana, Baton Rouge is a dangerous place. All you hear is bang. That's crazy. That's crazy. But, you know, watching that Vlad TV interview, you could tell Boosie's so uncomfortable. I've never seen him so uncomfortable doing a Vlad TV interview before. I never have. It's crazy. Go check it out. Go check it out. Unbelievable.
He was one of Boosie's closest friends, and you can always hear him referring to him in his music. But this just goes to show that in Baton Rouge, things always catch up to you. So boom, here we are at the end of 2008, and although Boosie is more popular than ever before, things are falling apart for him in Baton Rouge. Now without Ivy, Josh Thomas, Kevin Henderson, Lil Pig, and Lil Finn, Boosie definitely lost a lot of his muscle. And that right there introduces us to a brand new character. Let me introduce you to Michael Louding, also known as Marlo Mike. The name Marlo Mike rings bells all throughout Louisiana because he is
Marlo Mike. Everybody know about Marlo Mike. Incarcerated right now doing life. They said Marlo Mike became the brand new muscle for Little Boosie. Don't forget, Little Boosie said everywhere he goes, he need to have muscle around him. If you know what I mean, go check it out. If you don't believe me, go check out his interview. Go check it out.
Something else. Marlo Mike grew up in the same neighborhood as Boosie, but was definitely less fortunate. In fact, he was the poorest kid in the entire neighborhood, and his living conditions absolutely stunned Lil.
That's crazy. Imagine being the poorest person in the whole entire neighborhood. Imagine that. How do they know that? The poorest person. That's crazy. I mean, the poorer a person is the more you can take advantage of them, I heard. That's crazy.
He could not believe the way that Marlo Mike was being raised, so Boosie would step up to the plate and take him in as a son of his own. He was even allowing him to live with him since the age of 12. But once Marlo Mike got old enough, he would outgrow the role of a kid and have a new role in South Baton Rouge. He became Lil Boosie's new enforcer, and that's not me saying.
That's crazy, allegedly. Marlo Mike, he did an interview behind the bars recently. I believe he's 29 years old right now. And you know what he said? Matter of fact, go check it out. Go check out his interview and hear what he said. Hear what he said.
He said it himself, but Marlo Mike was only 15 years old when he got his start, and this story is absolutely insane. All of this is as told by Marlo Mike as he took the witness stand in 2012. Some information was confirmed and others were dismissed. Don't take everything as a fact, rather a personal account. And that takes us to April of 2009. Lil Boosie allegedly gets his chain snatched by another BBG member. That would be a man by the name of Marcus Thomas. And Lil Boosie felt disrespected to the point where he would ask Marlo Mike and Michael Judson to handle it for him. April 25th, 2009. Marcus Thomas is driving down West McKinley Street just 2 blocks from Boosie's projects. That's when Marlo Mike pulls up and bang. Another internal conflict.
Everything's a bang. Everything's a bang. So maybe Lil Boosie probably was right. In his neighborhood, things are a little different. Unfortunately, it's crazy. I mean, I wonder why they're so violent now there.
Baton Rouge over something pointless once again. And at this point, everything that happened to South Baton Rouge was between them. And because of that, everyone assumed that the problems with Nussie were over. In fact, both artists would do interviews confirming that they ran into each other at the airport and squashed it. And given that, you'd assume that everything was good. But unfortunate news would come soon. February 9th, 2009. Marlo Mike drives up to Nussie's neighborhood in Mid-City, Baton Rouge. He heads down America Street and bang. This incident here.
Bang. Bang. Louise, I mean, like I said, maybe Lil Boosie was right. Because all I'm hearing is bang, bang, bang. These individuals from the streets, unfortunately, they don't know much more than bang, I guess, huh? Unbelievable.
Shocked everyone, especially after they publicly squashed their issues. But Marlo Mike would claim that after the interviews were done, Nussie would actually disrespect Boosie at a nightclub again. And sadly, that's all it took. But another major...
It's all alleged. It's all alleged. But the point of this video right here, Lil Boosie might have been right. Louisiana, as you can see, it's a bad place. You know? At one point in time, they said it was the most dangerous state. You know? So, I mean, I don't know. You know, only thing I do know is that Marlo Mike right now is 29 years old. And they said Lil Boosie stopped looking out for Marlo Mike. Cut him off altogether. But even though he'd been taking care of him since he was 12 years old. Because he knew he came from a rough background. He was a poorest individual in his neighborhood. You know? I mean, I wonder why Lil Boosie decided to just cut him off like that. I mean, you know what? I think I might know why. Check out part 2 of the video. I'll let you know what I think. They say crime no pay, but I see them do it on Air Service TV. Unbelievable.